I'm Bran, and I love Hallmark Christmas movies.
I'm Brian, and I like Hallmark Christmas movies.
Boo! Boo! I'm Dan, and I despise Hallmark Christmas ghost movies, and this is the Deck the Hallmark podcast.
Deck the Hallmark, it's his podcast.
Brandon and friends host this podcast.
We hope you like this jolly podcast.
Bye-bye. Hello,
baby.
Happy Friday to ya.
Yes.
It's finally here. Friday and a review.
Man.
Of the Ghost movie.
Can't get any bigger than this. This was the one
Ghosts.
I circled.
On the
Preview
calendar?
app.
Yeah, you did.
Three Wise Men and a Baby. Everybody circled that one. This was my big circle.
That's right.
Carl Winslow, Ghost movie. Come on.
Let me ask you this, guys.
Yeah.
Do you have any ghost stories? Ever experienced a ghost?
Well, you know that Pan and I did a show, and
Yes.
we have all those tapes, so you know my answer.
Yes.
Okay.
Brian, have you ever experienced a ghost?
I think I have.
Okay.
Actually, this is true.
Here we go.
When I was probably middle school, a friend and I, he had
I don't believe you.
a go-kart.
Yeah.
And we were cruising on it real hard.
Was your friend
real fast.
like Mario?
Yeah, this is his brother Luigi.
Okay.
And we flipped it over by accident, and we were like, "Oh, what are we gonna do?"
You flipped over the go-kart? You were in it and you flipped it over?
He was in it, and he hit like a
Is he
rock.
okay?
Yeah. Oh, he's fine.
Great.
Oh, yeah, he was fine.
He's the
fell-
ghost?
No,
He's the
so
ghost.
he died immediately. It was a mess. So I'm trying to hide the body. No. So this guy out of nowhere, we were in the woods. A guy came out of nowhere and said, "Hey, you guys need a hand with that?" And he helped turn it over. And then when we kind of like we turned around to say thank you, he was gone. He ghosted us.
It's gone.
And so to this day, I don't know.
Can I be honest with you?
Yeah.
I have a similar story
You
to that.
do?
I
You
do. I'm
better
not making
go.
it up.
Flipped a go-kart
hold
over,
on.
and
Okay,
I was in the woods.
Okay.
I saw a go-kart.
Why are all these
I was
ghosts
insane.
hanging out in the woods?
No,
You saw a go-kart?
I was in a massive car accident when I was in high school. Head-on collision, car on
my
fire.
gosh, about
whole
this
again
thing.
with the
If I have to hear it,
And
Let me guess, you broke your leg.
there was a guy. Yeah, I did. A guy came up to the door. It was right by a construction site, and he rolled down the window and he was asking all these questions. He's like, "I used to be an EMT," and then this old guy comes over with a fire extinguisher. The car's on fire, like a foot away from me, and extinguishes the fire. And then the ambulance gets there, blah blah blah. And so they asked me for my report, and I tell them, "All right, 2 guys came up, blah blah blah," and they're like, "Only 1 guy was there. The site was closed. It was a Saturday. Only 1 guy was there. There's no fire
and
extinguisher.
he was the doctor.
There's no fire extinguisher on the premises. On the premises,
Of course.
And I swear to you, there were 2 dudes. One of them was there. He's like, "I used to be an MT. Walk me through what the situation is." And
He
an
used to
old
be
dude
before he died.
Old dude went up and sprayed
Extinguished the fire?
That's right.
Wow.
And then I never saw him again.
Yeah, I believe that. Yep, been there.
I actually, thank you guys for sharing your stories. I actually spend every day with a ghost when I read the Word of God.
Oh, stop it.
Is there a go-kart or a fire extinguisher involved?
Sometimes it
Boo.
depends. I don't have any ghost stories.
What chapter and book is the go-kart in? I missed that one.
He's got a book inside his Bible.
He's just got a Mario Kart DS. Open up the Bible.
By himself.
Dad's in the Word. I don't want to bother him. And you just hear, "Now we're going to win." Oh, no.
It's me, Mario. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Spend time with the Lord. Oh, gosh. Well, we did it. Great. Is it time?
Merry Christmas, everybody. We'll see ya.
Ghost of Christmas Always originally aired on October 30th, 2022, and it went a little something like this. This movie starts off with a bang.
Are you going to make it?
Might not.
It is 1 year ago. We see what they call the Scrooging of Susan. The ghost, they're there. They're out and about. It's December 23rd. We find out that they moved it up a day to give people more time to get a Christmas goose. It's not Christmas Eve anymore. It's the 23rd. Susan is a musician who has lost her Christmas spirit. It cuts to Susan running outside. She's full of Christmas spirit. The ghost did their job. Catherine is the ghost of Christmas presents. She is from this town, Hartford, and she decides she's going to walk around, see the town. It's been a while. So no one can see her. She's a ghost. And so what's the worst that can happen? She's just going to look around, poke around a little bit. She goes back to the bar that she has fond memories of being in, and a guy named Peter walks in and immediately sees her. And this is surprising to her because of the fact that she's a ghost. And he's like, I recognize you. And she's like, I got one of those faces. So she heads back to the great hall where the ghosts are after ghosting. And they're given their project to research for the next year. And it is Peter, the guy from the bar from just a few minutes ago. And Catherine is like, oh no. But she doesn't tell the other ghosts that she had that experience where Peter saw her. Cut to the next year. It's the 23rd. It's time to go ghost, y'all. The problem is Peter is kind of the best person. Why is he being Scrooged? The ghosts show up and he immediately recognizes Catherine, and the other ghosts are like, oh, wow. And she's like, I didn't think you weren't supposed to remember me. People don't remember the ghost, but dadgummit. And so she's like, sorry, other ghosts, for not telling you. Past gets ready to bring Peter to the past. And he's like, Catherine, can you come? Since we know, we met each other in the past a year ago. So, and she's like, it's not usually how it works, but they do go, and they find out that his dad is a real jerk, just a real jerk face. And they're at the community center, and they in the past, and they see a picture of Catherine, or Past, the ghost sees a picture of Catherine on the table, and she makes them leave immediately, so something's going on there. Catherine thinks that their purpose is to get Peter to understand that he should not take over his father's business. Peter is next in line. He says they just announced that he is going to be taking over the father's business. Maybe that's going to make Peter a jerk like his father. It's going to ruin him, so we need to turn his life around, make him realize that he's better if he's not doing that. So it's her turn to show him the present, and she helps him realize that he doesn't actually want to run the company, even though he already said yes. We also get to see 2 days into the future during the present, because you get to see the full Christmas week. He sees a girl that he had a crush on when he was a kid. She's single now, and Catherine is like, is that what you want? He's like, yeah, maybe. Job over. We did it. The ghosts are back in the ghost hall. We helped him realize what he wants. That's great. So they then realize that they Scrooged the wrong guy. They were supposed to Scrooge his dad, which makes sense because he is the definition of a Scrooge. But the problem is they cannot Scrooge more than one person per Christmas. But if they don't turn the dad's life around, the universe is in trouble. But they do get approval to go back to see what they can do. Even though they can't Scrooge him, maybe they can figure something out. And so Catherine goes back to talk to Peter. Peter can still see her, can still talk to her, to try to convince Peter to talk some sense into his dad, to try to make him a more charitable person like he is. But Peter's like, problem. I already left my dad a very intense voicemail telling him to kick rocks. I don't think he's going to want to talk to me. But here's an idea. You told me that you guys Scrooged famous singer Susan Crane. My dad is a huge Susan Crane fan. Almost as huge of a Susan Crane fan as my good friend Dan. Dan loves Susan Crane.
Some Susan Crane. She is famous for singing.
So maybe we can go talk. So maybe we can go talk to Susan Crane.
We gotta stop singing so we can just record this episode, Dan. Just let us get through this.
I know the song. You have not stopped singing all day.
Susan Crane is a
Susan
world-class singer for some.
So maybe we go talk to Susan Crane and she can help somehow. So she agrees. They show up and is like, hey, I'm Susan Crane and I would like to play your Christmas party. And the dad is like fully freaking out, fanboying right now. Like, oh my gosh, Susan Crane is going to play my Christmas party. Susan Crane is also like, hey, also really liked your dad. Your dad had a cool community center. He was very charitable. And I bet you were too. So smooth, Susan Crane. So she sings at the party. Peter shows up, goes to talk to his dad. His dad is like, oh, you're here. I didn't think that you would be here because I can't trust you. You don't understand how important fiscal responsibility is. Peter yells back, you don't understand how important people are. Peter storms out. Catherine goes after him and is like, you can't give up. And Peter's like, he's never going to change. So he leaves. Catherine tells the other ghosts that they need to just give up. And Pass explains, we can't. It's not about them. No time to explain. Let's go. So she transports her and Catherine to where Peter is. And Pass says, there's something that I need to show you both. So they go back to Catherine's past. And we find out that Catherine and Peter's grandma were best friends. We see Catherine talk about how she wants to do something bigger and better for the world. She wants to help the world. She wants to feed the hungry. She wants to help make sure that everybody has somewhere to live. All these things that were really important to Peter's grandpa seem to also have been important to Catherine. She goes with Peter's grandma. They walk into a new general store owned by Peter's grandpa. This is how they met. Ultimately, they would end up getting married, but not before Catherine goes to leave. She goes to bring some food to the hungry. She gets hit by a car, best we can figure via sound effects, and she dies. Flash forward a year, Peter's grandma and grandpa announced that they are going to build and open up a place to feed the hungry, a community center. We see her reading a letter at the opening of this thing. And so Peter and Catherine decide we need to try to find this letter and maybe give this letter to Dad so that he realizes how important this stuff really is. And so Peter goes and finds the letter and gives the letter to his dad saying, basically, I want to fulfill what Grandma and Grandpa would have wanted for us as a family. Catherine says goodbye, and he's like, I wish that we could be together. And she's like, yeah, that sure would be nice. So he walks out. Future then says, hey, I want to show you your future. She's like, what? I'm a ghost. And he's like, you're the project. So we see little flashes of a life with Peter, and he's like, if that's what you truly want, it can be yours. They get back to the halls. She walks through the door to the unknown, and she ends up back at the bar with her and Peter dancing, kissing, and they're going to open that sucker back up and fulfill what their grandma and grandpa envisioned. And that, my friends, was the Ghost of Christmas Always.
We did it.
We did do it. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll break this movie down here on Deck the Hallmark. We're back, everybody. We're talking about A Ghost of Christmas Always. Let's break it down. Let's start with a hot take. A fella who's been getting hotter and hotter as the holiday season goes on with his takes. Let's see what he has today. Brian, what do you think about A Ghost of Christmas Always?
So this had like a cold opening to this movie, which was very cool. And
they had to. There's no way to fit all the plot in otherwise. Like, they really did need it.
Yeah, they needed all that time.
Yeah.
Which, right away, that drew me in. I was on board immediately. Like, right away with what they were doing. I love this cast. Like, everybody, who, regardless of who was on the screen, I was psyched to be watching them. Everybody in the cast did, I think, such a great job, and they all worked so well together. And boy, can Peter rock a turtleneck. Not a lot of people.
He sure can.
I mean, he does. He makes it look right.
That's what it's supposed to look like.
Yep.
The ending went over my head initially, and I didn't really get it. And I was kind of confused, like, so did she swap spaces with Betsy? Did Betsy get hit by the car, and then the more like I was talking through it with my wife, and I kind of came to the realization like, no, she died young. She has nothing to do with that story, with the accident. So
they just brought her back and made up a new social security number, driver's license, all that stuff.
Right.
All that made her a new person that Heath knows is the same person.
Yeah, simple.
Because nothing matters.
It's very simple. No, there were rules, but and I'm sure it was all within the bounds of those rules, but it didn't matter. Like regardless of what happened and what they had to do to make the ending happen the way that it did, like they created a whole universe between the people, like the Scrooged alumni and the ghosts doing the Scrooging, that I just loved all of that. Like I didn't need the love story. Even I didn't need it to end with the love story like that. I would have been perfectly happy if he went on with his life and she was still a ghost, and that would have been sad. But you go back and you got a whole nother crew you could get into, and so I thought that was great. And I just want to remind the kids just to look both ways when you're walking across the street with a box of produce.
With a box
That's
of
good.
produce. When I was a kid, I
Oh my gosh! I dreamed a dream of
Moving
time gone
picture.
by.
Hold on, let me
with
get
Christmas
let-
movies
can
just
I
worth
just-
watching.
That
Ghost
is
of
beautiful.
all.
we'll work on that later. That's really great, actually. When I was a kid, I thought I was going to be a professional basketball player, and I tried out for the basketball team in middle school. I didn't make the team. I was crushed, and I was wondering, what am I going to do with my life? And today, it all made sense. It was for this moment, for this movie. Because if I'm in the NBA, I probably wouldn't have seen this.
Hey, you would have missed this one.
Because those were the two options in life.
I probably
NBA or watch this.
wouldn't have reviewed it. But today, I realized why I'm alive. And it's to say that this is the greatest Hallmark Christmas movie of all time.
There it is.
That's it. That's why I exist.
Oh my gosh, he did it.
This is a marvel to behold.
He still has Noel next door above it, I guarantee you.
Yeah, he does. I
didn't have Noel Next Door #1 before this movie. This movie is just. I texted my wife
to watch it again with your wife.
I'm watching it tonight. I already know what I'm doing. I already know what I'm doing tonight, and it's watching this movie again. So thank you, Coach Shaw, for crushing my dreams and allowing me to be here today on this day of our Lord 2022, where I got to watch the greatest cinematic masterpiece this side of a heaven. Dan?
That's right. Thanks,
Great
McNasty. For an hour and 52 minutes of a 2-hour runtime, I was transported, transfixed in a world with amazing dialogue, whip-smart comedy, world building, a cast of characters, Lori Tan Chin, Reginald Vell Johnson, Kim Matula or Machula, however you say that name, and a new Hallmark hunk, Ian Harding, who may be, dare I say, as good as it gets. I was taken away from everything Hallmark into a world of real Christmas spirit. And in the last 8 minutes, Hallmark swooped in and made sure to tie a big old ugly bow on that bad boy. And I was, listen, this is the best movie of the year, Hallmark Christmas movie. There's no question about it. But make no mistake, it went from all-timer, best Hallmark Christmas movie of all time, to best of the year with one fatal, it has to be the guy and the girl together at the end. Because I said this, Brian Harrell was in the room, he'd already seen the movie. He stayed completely quiet. An hour into this movie, I said, I would sell their romantic relationship right now for another movie next year with the three leads Scrooging someone else. Mm-hmm. I would ship that relationship with Peter and what's her name? I don't even know her name. With the
Catherine.
Peter and Catherine. I would be fine if they never spoke to each other again. If I get another year in this hallway with all of these ghosts and Carl Winslow and Lori Tan Chin and Kim Matula going to Scrooge somebody else and saving another life and doing it again. Give me that every year until Deck the Hallmark ends. And instead, in a world where we're making up the rules as we go along, and that's okay. That's okay that they're doing that because there are some stakes still. As soon as you make it to where you're making the rules so there are no stakes, it loses a little something. And I'm sorry, Zach Hugg has written a lot of scripts. This one he knocked flat out of the park. Oh, yeah. The last 8 minutes hurt me because I loved it so much. If it wasn't so good before then, probably wouldn't have cared. But this movie, for the majority of the time we spent with it, from that opening scene, we had to rewind because I wasn't ready. I was looking at something on Amazon, blah, 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 and I was like, wait a minute, what's happening already? They nailed it. These two actors, I don't know if I've ever seen before. Phenomenal. So good. So, all-timer? No. Did I like it? You bet I did. You bet I liked the movie. You bet that an hour 52 of this is pure gold. Last 8 minutes, unfortunate. That doesn't sink the whole ship. It does make it bittersweet because I don't get another one like this one. But, man, this is how to do it, Hallmark. Congrats, Zach Hugg. Congrats, cast. By and large, really, really good stuff.
It's hard for me to sing the song because you're not.
What song?
The Dan likes the
no,
movie
you don't
song.
have to do that.
Because you're downplaying how monumental this is in life, in the grand scheme of existence. You're downplaying it, and so I don't like that. But Dan like the movie. Woo! Dan like the movies. Crowd surf. Send it.
Rig.
Thank you.
Come on, Wrigley.
Man.
Boy, dropped it.
I don't do crowd surfing.
He doesn't put his drink down for
Hold
anything.
on. What?
R.I.P. Beefcake.
I don't. That's not his name.
My buddy Beefcake.
Who's Beefcake?
Beefcake is from Switzerland. It's BIEFCACHE. I know that sounds like BF Cache, but it's in Switzerland. They call him Beefcake. That's his name, Beefcake. We were at a show. It was a really big show. Skrillex opened for Sugar Ray. And
Big show.
The show didn't exist.
Yeah.
it's
I think
impossible.
he's got it backwards there.
Beef said, I'm going to get on stage and go for a dive. You know what I mean, Rig? And I said, yeah, I know what you mean, Beef. And he got up there and jumped off the stage. And they just, the crowd collapsed under the weight of Beef. And there's nothing they could do about it. Beef bit it, and he never stood up again.
Oh, man.
So every year we remember Beefcake, and every year we say no crowd surfing.
But by not doing crowd surfing, you could be.
We had backstage passes. I wasn't in the crowd.
Okay.
Yeah. There's no way I was going to hold
I'm just
Beef up,
saying,
though.
you could have. Now, Snowman, Panda the Snowman, is dead because of you.
I don't think that's plastic. You know that, right?
Will somebody come clean this up?
It is a disaster over there. It's just like sludge
everywhere.
Can
I get something to wipe? Rick, you got something to wipe that up?
Rick?
Oh, I do. Yeah, I do.
What do you got?
It's a ShamWow.
It's your pants. Good Lord.
No. No. You don't set me up. You don't run the pants script.
Nice try.
You stick to yourself.
Busted.
You guys trying to throw softballs. Rick doesn't hit softballs. He hits 100-mile-an-hour fastballs, B.
You went with a ShamWow.
The ShamWow changed the game.
Where does he keep his ShamWow, I wonder?
I don't know. It could be
Garage.
What else do you keep in the garage? What else do you keep in the garage?
Corvette.
Okay. Anything in the Corvette? Maybe in the trunk?
Check that glove box.
Could be anything. What is it?
It's so many things.
Well, like what?
Trapper keepers.
It's time for all the feels as part of the show. That's what we're talking about. Things this movie that gave us feels. Bry guy?
R.I.P. Beefcake.
Yeah,
I didn't know. We didn't know.
I just gotta, just feel.
We didn't know. We'd have done more had we known.
We didn't know.
We didn't know.
Oh, man.
He says Beefcake occasionally, and I think he's just crazy.
Turns out it's a real person.
A real person, Beefcake.
Real feelings.
That's right.
The feels for me, the biggest feels was the music in this movie throughout. It felt like so Christmassy, so magical, and it felt like at the perfect timing. Like all of a sudden I would notice, there's a beautiful track playing in the background. It would just like fade in, and it would just be perfect for the scene. And so it was like whimsical and inspirational at certain points. And I know there's a lot of chatter about the song that nobody can find.
Take the hall.
And so I was digging into trying to find it. I can't find it. I don't think it is put out there anywhere to be found. I think it's just, it's like it ghosted us, if you will. But the composer for this movie has done a ton of really cool movies and she got a lot of good credentials, and so I'm not surprised the music was phenomenal. But that was a big feels for me. It just
A good composer can go a long way.
Yeah, and it went a long
over
way.
royalty free.
Yeah, over royalty free.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, you do notice the difference there.
It's the most unique spin on Deck the Halls I've ever heard, though.
Because it's not Deck the Halls.
It's an original.
But even those 3 words in a song,
it's its own thing.
Yeah,
David S. Pumpkin
by a really good singer.
Yeah. Just how do you say all of it?
Yeah, just like that.
All of it. All of it gave me. I had one giant feel the whole movie. I had to keep eating stuff. I had nervous energy. I was like, this is just so good.
Yeah,
I'm on the edge.
Didn't stand a chance.
I didn't stand a chance.
It was 9 a.m. and you were.
I was just
shavings, tinfoil shavings.
Because if not, I got a nervous tick about me.
It was very silent. Normally we're not that quiet watching these movies, but we were locked in.
Locked in. Had to feel the whole time. Right out of the gate, I had to feel there's just boom. It's Scrooging time, baby. No, none of this fun time, music time for a minute, and then we get to the thing. Right out of the gate, boom. We got to rewind it. We missed something. So, all of it.
And
give it to me, baby.
Dan, I don't know if you're going to mention, you actually had us pause it while you had to leave.
That's right. This is a first of all time.
Yeah.
If I go to the restroom during a Hallmark movie, I do not pause it. I let it roll. I assume I know what's going to happen. If I miss anything super important, Brand will tell me. I went to the restroom. I'm always in control of the remote control, as you can imagine. I paused it. I was like, I'm not going to miss this. Because I also said, Brian can attest, I said, my only problem with this movie, I was legit nervous because I was like, there's no good way to end this. Because the way they should end it, they don't have the courage to do. And that would be my one downer about this. Is it my turn, Brian?
Yes.
So there's a movie called The Judge with Robert Duvall and Robert Downey Jr. It is not an all-time good movie. It has some all-time good scenes in it. One of those scenes is when Robert Downey Jr. has to put his father on the stand in a court case, and he talks about when he looked at his kid, he saw somebody else, and when he looked at somebody else, he saw his kid. And I know that doesn't make any sense in this context, but the point of that movie in that scene is that when I look at someone else who does something wrong, my heart breaks for my own kid that I want to go and help them and save them. This movie has a great scene between a father and a son where what happens when you're a parent is you tend to err on the opposite side of the spectrum that your parents erred on. So if your parents were very strict and very rigid, you swing the other way. And then your kids will swing that other way. And so what we find is not a dad who's just a selfish D-bag. We find a dad whose own father, we think the whole movie is super awesome, charitable, and giving, but all this kid wanted was his dad to spend a little time with him. And so we find out that his sin was the opposite of the sin of his father, which was, I'm going to make sure I build something so my kid has something that we can share together. That is deeper than maybe any Hallmark movie has ever gone before. To make you realize that this guy that we think is a monster is trying to correct his perceived lack of time he spent with his dad to his own kid. And it takes his kid figuring that out to break that cycle. Boy, that's a grand slam right there. That's a movie that doesn't need a let's make up an ending where the two get together. Doesn't need it. Just too good for it. That's too high quality. That scene right there, holy cow, good as it gets.
Good as it gets, just like this next break. We'll be back here on Deck the Hallmark to get the Wait What's in the What the Hallmark's here on Deck the Hallmark on WQZR.
Spoils of
the
War.
Rip It. Welcome back, everybody. We're talking about Ghost of Christmas Always. It's great to be here today, breaking down the greatest movie of all time. Let's get to the Wait What, see if we have any. Let's be petty, because apparently that's what we do. Brian?
You get a comment or something, or a review that rubbed you the wrong way?
No, I just feel it today on this particular movie.
Sure,
that this segment is worthless.
We don't need to do. So mine are two just small ones, really. Well, the only thing that really took me out of the movie was when the ghost took Peter to Susan the singer's house.
Susan
and
the
just
singer
appeared there, and I just thought, how did he get hit there? I assume the ghost took him, told him where to go, but they didn't really cover that. And so all of a sudden he was there in her house, and I didn't understand how he got there exactly. So that was one thing that kind of took me out a little bit. But the only other thing that really made me go, wait, what are they doing there? Was when when the grandfather, when he had the store, he handed her the box of produce, the almost expired produce.
Yeah.
And in that almost expired box of produce were raw onions. And I just thought, why is he giving them raw onions? There were like 3 or 4 raw onions in that box of produce. And that's as petty as I can get there, Brent.
I only have one, which is I refuse to believe that there is any universe anywhere that exists where the most popular like food distribution company or whatever it is just called Food Stuff. I don't think so. What? Food Stuff?
Yeah.
No one ever thought maybe we should go back to the drawing board on Food Stuff? What do we call it, guys?
Food stuff.
No, drop the and. Just Food Stuff. What do you? What type of stuff do you guys handle? Just
Food stuff. Just food stuff. Really.
Just food stuff.
Nothing else, just
Keep
food
it
stuff.
simple, stupid. You know.
But I am excited to announce our next company is called Podcast Things. It's where we do podcast things.
Oh wow!
So,
Podcast things. I like.
looking forward to that.
That could actually work.
Food
Podcast
stuff.
things.
Food stuff. Dan.
You only had one.
Yeah, food stuff.
Listen, no one here loves Reginald Ville Johnson more than me. Carl Winslow, national treasure. This was the cherry on top of this movie. He's wonderful in this movie, and we get way more of him than I thought we'd get. It just so happens that the Ghost of Christmas Future is also useless in this movie. Completely and utterly does nothing but says everything is as it should be over and over again. And look, if you want to make a rule with the 2-day window where you give the Ghost of Christmas present the whole week of Christmas and then double it down and make it about the father instead of the son and then triple it down and take him back to her past and then quadruple it down and make it about soulmates and change it 4 different times, you know what? I may give you a little bit of a hard time. That's fine. But don't act like we got a Ghost of Christmas Future when he doesn't do anything. He does nothing. He sits there. He wears a cool ascot. He smiles real big. Uncle Carl is there. He's doing his thing. Meaningless character. Meaningless. Nothing. That is a ginormous, wait, what? You can't tell me it's not, Bran.
It's not. It's not.
You just did.
He doesn't do anything. He doesn't do anything.
But this was a specific case.
Yeah.
It was her.
He does something
That ascot.
Oh,
that helps
ascot
her
is-
realize that
Right.
that she
Everything
wants to
is as it should be.
everything is. But also, we don't get to. He does do stuff. We just don't get to see it.
What we imagine, nice, that's good.
you.
What we imagine is that she died. The character died like, it has to be 70 years ago, right?
Some of them.
Because it's like right the 50s, 60s, right around there. She goes back to Rudy Tootie's in 2022. Rudy Tootie 22 Tootie.
Yeah.
I don't know.
2022.
And literally the place is pristine and they've poured dust on the counter and made cobwebs around the chairs that even look like new cobwebs. And I found that to be
I
really,
saw
really
New
funny.
Cobwebs live.
Dude,
The
so
Halloween
good.
show, hard to get into. I got in.
You got in.
Yeah, Timmy gave me a ticket.
Timmy, dude.
Timmy gave me
He
his
told me he
ticket.
didn't have any.
Well,
Such
he
a
did.
liar.
What a liar.
Well, he didn't.
Thank God.
He gave it to me.
He didn't.
Shout out to Timmy.
So, probably a third way through the movie, they make Kim Matula's, it's Kim Matula, right? Her wardrobe, they change her to modern day clothes. She's wearing a great outfit to begin the movie. It's wonderful. She looks charming and adorable. They make her look similarly charming and adorable, but in 2022. When they make this wardrobe change, Ian Harding acts as though she is Rachel Lee Cook at the end of She's All That. Like, he acts as though he's just seen a beauty for the first time that's undeniable. And I'm telling you, she looks amazing in both outfits. I don't get it. They change her. I don't understand what that cut at all. It didn't make any sense to me. Look, I understand that the dad of Food Stuff doesn't want to give anything away. I understand that. But the thing you have to know about big companies, ginormous billion-dollar companies, $100 million companies is that they give a lot of things away in order to make more money. It's not like us when we try our best to support people around the area. It doesn't help us a ton aside from like that's what we need to do because we feel called to do it. When Amazon gives money away, it lowers their bottom line. There is just no world where this guy refuses to give anything away on the principle of he wants to pay more taxes. Like, he has got to be okay with donating stuff because it helps him. And so for his son to like be giving away food at what amounts to, I believe, 4:30 in the morning out of a van, I don't know. And then blah, blah, blah. Oh, yeah. This guy is the owner and the CEO of a Fortune 500 company, and he lives in a basic apartment. All the time, we do the reverse on this. Yeah. This woman's a substitute teacher and has a 3,000 square foot house. This guy makes tens of millions of dollars. His apartment's okay, which is just as ridiculous. And Peter's mom is ageless. In the flashbacks, I mean, it does not matter. She looks the same regardless. And last, this isn't a wait what. They don't say the title of the movie, but the movie Heart and Souls, it's a movie with Robert Downey Jr. in it. It's not great by any stretch, but I loved it as a kid. They referenced that movie because they want to use the same rules of that movie in this movie, and it was a fun little reference, and I really, really enjoyed that. That's all I got.
It's time for What the Hallmark Special Show. We wonder what could have been. Maybe having give some clarity to questions we still have. Brian, what are you still wondering about, buddy?
So at one point, Arlene when they went back and what's the place called, the Great Hall, right?
Yeah, the Great Hall.
Yeah.
She said, I'll have a martini, and then she said, have one for me. I'll have 2 martinis. Did ghosts feel the effects of the martinis, or do they just taste good?
Because she said she had 2 martinis for her. Did she have one for herself? Like, is she 3 or 4 deep at this point?
Right. Yeah.
Do you feel that?
Yeah,
is that impressive?
Right.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Yeah.
So I was wondering, do they just like the taste, or do you actually feel something? And the only other thing I had was when you go into the great unknown, can your destination only be the type of ghost that you are? So she went to the present, right? Because she's a ghost of present. If a future ghost, can he only go, or can a future ghost only go to the future?
So mine is similar.
I cannot talk rules of the movie because they literally are just
rules are rules.
The door to the unknown. The door to the unknown.
Door to the unknown.
What do you think that something you don't know as a ghost is that you are actually, all of this is to find a soulmate, and that you go through the unknown once you find your soulmate? Like, is she an exception, or is she actually the rule?
Is that the point of it?
Yeah.
All? Right. I was wondering that myself.
Because like not everybody, like what other reasons would there be to go through the unknown?
That's right. Correct.
I don't know. I don't know what other reasons there would
Just
be
for
except for love.
Yep.
Yeah,
because the greatest of these.
Yeah, and there's a few movies that deal with this thing where the ghost has to stay until they've completed their finished their unfinished business, and then they get to go to heaven or whatever. That's kind of the red herring there, I think. As much as that ending does work, which it doesn't. In the first Scrooging of this movie, they finish Scrooging her, and Reginald Vell Johnson's character calls out a time.
Yeah, 3 hours.
Then he says, that's a near record.
Yes.
What's the record?
Yeah.
I want to know the record. I want to know what it is.
It's close.
I want to know who it was. Maybe they weren't that bad a Scrooge. I want to know.
Yeah. It's a good question. It's a good question.
That's what I got.
We did, everybody. Congratulations.
Cannot imagine. Can I be honest? Cannot imagine 3 Wise Men and a Baby being better than this movie.
Wow.
I can't imagine it.
Wow.
Can't imagine. I think Unexpected Christmas is better than this movie because it's consistent with its integrity. But I cannot imagine 3 Wise Men and a Baby being better than this movie.
This one was very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool story.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Well done,
concept.
all involved.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll find out. We got a couple more weekends. We got a Maple Valley. We got an Andrew Walker movie to review before.
Oh, wow.
We do.
So that's coming this weekend. I think we're gonna be. Yeah, we'll be back tomorrow. With a lifetime. Nope.
Scratch that.
Hold, please. Reverse it.
No, we're done. We're done for the week, everybody.
That's
we'll be back on Monday. We'll be back on Monday with a Netflix and maybe a few other channels.
Maybe even
the final preview
Spirited
show.
on Apple Plus.
The final preview
Maybe
show of the
even.
year until the last week of December when we preview winter. We'll be back then until Merry Christmas. You got
Hallmark
it.
is the That Sounds Fun podcast. It's produced by Tracy Nillisname. It's recorded live in Greenville, South Carolina. For more information on Deck the Hallmark, you can go to deckthehallmark.com.